Welcome back to SoulBack. This is the R&B Podcast. Kyle here, and I have Tom with me. Tom, where's Ed?
Good news, Ed did so well at his church's chicken convention speech that he got invited to speak for Wendy's now. Impressive.
Wow. Actually, no, that's not it. He told me he was sick and he lost his voice, so he can't join us on the podcast. But hey, if we put two and two together, maybe he had too much fried chicken and now he has a sore throat.
Didn't he say he's sounding like Ja Rule?
Yep, and I said, you know what? If you sound like Ja Rule, you should still be on the podcast, because even with the rough voice, he still made it to the Rap Hall of Fame, so I think Ed could have been here. But what are you going to do?
What do we got this week?
Well, Tom, I actually had another R&B trivia laid out for you guys. You guys were going to go head-to-head, but since he isn't here, I guess we'll have to take away his portion and just make you do this R&B trivia by yourself. Are you ready?
Oh, come on. I guess. What is the concept here?
You know, last 2 episodes ago when I put you on the spot and I put Ed on the spot and I asked you to name the album that this Musiq Soulchild or Keith Sweat song was from?
Yep.
And I gave you the easiest questions ever, or the easiest songs?
Yep.
Well, I took that into consideration and I said, you know what? I need to give Tom a little more respect. He is a diehard R&B and Musiq Soulchild fan, and he listens to the albums, not just the songs, right?
Correct.
So, if I were to name those same songs, could you tell me what song comes before it on the album?
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me?
Are we
Definitely
ready?
not. Absolutely not.
Let's do this.
But I'll tell you why.
Let's take a stab at this. Alright, tell me why you can't do it first.
Actually, I came to a realization in recent years. In my younger years, I could do that because I hadn't even heard that many albums. But now that I've heard tens of thousands of albums, my brain cannot hold that much material in my head. So I already know off the bat I definitely cannot do that.
Sounds like a bunch of excuses. Let's get started.
That's a valid excuse. That is for the listeners
you say
out
that.
there.
Listen, you say that now,
that.
and then once you get 3 out of 3, you're going to be singing a different tune.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first song, what song comes before Don't Change on the Just Listen album?
I literally have no idea.
Well, it's the song Best Friend.
Yeah, I see. I wouldn't have got that.
All right, then.
Sorry, if you're listening, Musiq Soulchild, I usually skip that song.
Oof. All right. The next song we had was Buddy, Buddy, off the Love and Music. What song comes before that?
Was that track number 3 on the album?
No, that was track number 1. So nothing comes before that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Damn. So I know what comes after her then.
I think Miss Philadelphia, if I remember correctly.
Yes, one of my favorite Musiq Soulchild songs, absolutely.
Unfortunately, this was songs that came before, not after. So,
this is going great so far.
Yep. I think, you know what, if you get this, I won't crown you the king of R&B, but you'll get to stay on the podcast for another episode.
All right.
The song Who Knows off the Soul Star album.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea, man.
Infatuaties.
That's a great song, but I wouldn't have known that.
No.
You know
well, you went 0 of 3 this week.
Do you know how many albums I have? Come on, man, that's not fair.
Listen, Tom, I'm willing to bet if Ed was here, he could name the songs that came before those Keith Sweat songs that we talked about 2 weeks ago.
I'm still convinced he was Googling information while you were asking him the questions to get those right. Never mind. Ed's not fast enough to do that, so that's not true.
Well, I mean, the fact that he named that bonus Walmart song featuring Akon, that was like the most impressive thing I've seen in R&B this year.
Man, I'm convinced that's all that plays in his house, and his wife must be pissed. Like, she probably doesn't even stay in the same room as him.
Damn. All right, let's focus here, Tom. We got some new music to talk about. Some good.
Before we do that,
some
can we
bad.
get a shout out to the last episode with Donell Jones? That was pretty epic.
Yeah, it was actually really epic, and we got our homegirl, Lachelle Wallace. She came back from the dead and made an epic comment. It takes about 15 minutes to read it because it was that long, but Tom, there's some pretty good stuff in there.
She usually has something good to say, but Donell was a great guest and gave us some great history, filled us in on the new music, his collaboration with John B. So he was a good guest. We've been on a roll, so this is exciting right now.
Yeah, we have, and we have a couple more coming up that'll be just as exciting. But Tom, can we get into the new music now?
Let's go into it.
Because I have some things to say about this new Solange album, When I Get Home. Before I get into my little spiel, you were on social media, you were on Twitter, I'm sure you read all the responses. What were the responses on your end? What did you see?
I mean, well, before you put that comment out there, people were just, so excited. Solange, wow, it's such a great piece of art. And, man, we haven't heard music like this in a long time. Fast forward to your tweet. Oh, man, everyone was agreeing with you. I don't even know who authorized you to diss her like that, but it was pretty impressive.
Well, first and foremost, I didn't diss anybody. I did not name names. So if you think it's Solange, then that's on you. That's not on me. But Tom, if the glove fits, then But
well,
let me just let me bring it back a little bit here, because her last album, A Seat at the Table, that was a great album. Like, objectively, I really like that album. A lot of people did. It won a Grammy, I believe, for Best R&B Song. So, and, Solange has always been underrated. I remember back in 2008, you really liked her second album, and I think you listened to her first one as well, right? The one with Crush on it?
Absolutely. Yep.
So, Solange has always been under the radar and loved and appreciated by R&B fans. And it seems like in recent years, maybe because of just how big Beyonce has gotten, that's allowed Solange to be back in the spotlight in a different type of way. She took advantage of that with her last album, dropped a great project. But this one, Tom, I tweeted about it. I'm not going to say it was about Solange, but it sure does fit that description. It felt like a bunch of freestyles that she did in one take and just slapped it on and called it an album. And this is what pisses me off, is that critics, fans, and listen, guys, if you guys like the album, good for you. I'm not going to hate on that. But to have people deem it as like an instant classic and a piece of work, a piece of art, it doesn't sit well with me, especially because I know there's artists that are literally in the studio recording every day to master the craft, and she just put out like a rough draft, and it's being deemed as like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Tom, I have a big problem with that.
Well, I know Ed, if he was here, he'd agree with us. And I'll just say, I think people are confused. I mean, these surprise albums, social media influence, people think they should like something because everyone else likes it. And then, if you remember the D'Angelo album when he made his comeback, that felt like, that was the last album I really thought felt unfinished and people were praising it. And I was like, he's mumbling, we don't even know what he's singing, it doesn't feel finished. And then people praise that. So I almost feel like it's more of the movement. We know that. It's more of the movement than the actual music these days. It's just sad to see that music has devolved to that point. And this isn't to say she's trapping and making garbage. It's just not classic, timeless. Let's call it what it is. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, because even the songwriting on that, and Solange is a very talented songwriter. She's written for, Destiny's Child. She's written for herself, and I have no problem with her songwriting, but on this, there were so many songs where she would just repeat the title over and over and over and over again, and I'm like, this is what people are listening to? So that brings me to my next question, Tom, because I know some people said, well, you got to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol to listen to this, to appreciate it. Tom, if you have to be on some sort of influence to listen to an album for it to be considered good, is the music really good? That's a question for you. I need to hear your opinion on this.
Is that an actual question, or is that like a common sense, rhetorical question? I mean, we know the answer. Come on.
I don't know, because you know what? Sometimes when you play music really loud, it can kind of sound good. Maybe it's the same thing if you're on drugs.
That's true, but you shouldn't have to harm your body to appreciate a piece of music. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you know what? Someone did make a tweet on that. I think it was. I think his name was like Slick Partner. I think that's his name, where he said it can enhance the music, but it shouldn't be required for it to be good. And I guess I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, because when I have a drink, if you have a couple drinks and you're tipsy, you feel good, you're nice. That's different than being on drugs or sniffing coke and then being like, wow, this is amazing, man. It's different.
So, yeah, I mean, shouts to Solange. For the people that do like the project, I'm glad you guys do, but just for us, it really, to me, it wasn't the best body of work, and I think that's where we're at today, where, you see on Twitter someone likes it, and I gotta give a shout out to this that stay woke crowd. Man, it was like that hipster crowd from like 10 years ago, but there's more of them now, and they have a bigger presence online. And man, it's a lot. But
let me make one more comment, then we'll move on. But imagine if the only R&B you've heard in the past 5 years is like LMA and Her, and everything else you heard was Quavo, the Migos, and Travis Scott, and all that stuff. So comparatively speaking, this Solange album probably sounds really good if you're into R&B, because you probably have never heard anything else of someone even really singing. Think about it like that.
I mean, Tom, we're going to have to move on to the next subject because... listen, if Ed was here, he would be yelling, and Ed is not here, so we're not going to contribute to this loudness. Can we move on and talk about Sammie's new album, Everlasting?
Shout out to Sammie. He joined us a couple weeks ago and gave us some great insight into the album.
Yeah, and good dude. I listened to the album, and I want to go on record and say that Coming of Age, his last album, I really liked that album. I know Ed did too, and Tom, you did as well. We had a couple of his songs on our countdown. This new one, Everlasting, I mean, we were a little scared after he dropped that single with Little Baby Times 10. The record itself, it's not bad, but Tom, I think it falls under the issue that a lot of R&B albums have these days. The songs are like 2 minutes and 24 seconds. They lack a bridge. And because of that, because there aren't a lot of changes going on in the record, everything starts to sound the same. And I can say that's probably the case with this Sammie project. Midway through that album, it sounded like back-to-back every song was the same song. But he does have a great song on there called Second Time Around. It's one of those sad piano ballads that I know you can't listen to anymore, Tom. But, I mean, shout out to Sammie. He's still pushing it. He's still doing his thing.
Well, this is not directed at Sammie because I haven't heard the album. But you answered this question. If he had spent double the time on creating this album to make something, even way better subjectively, is there any guarantee it would have been more successful? I can't say it's an obvious yes. So,
oh, of course not. But I think, I mean, I don't know how I'm sure Sammie thinks his album is great, and I'm not going to dispute that. But if artists put a little more time, and maybe they need more writers involved, because I know when you're independent, you try to do everything yourself to, save money and also try to get as much publishing as possible. Collaborate with some writers who can write a bridge, who can bring a different melody to the game. And Sammie's a talented writer, don't get me wrong, but I just think in today's landscape with these independent artists, they just all want to do it themselves. It's all about ownership, but back in the day, it was about collaboration. So
yeah. So shout out to Sammie, though. He's a good dude, and he has a great following. I didn't really realize this, as maybe I should have noticed, but man, he has a lot of fans who were out there supporting him, encouraging others to check out the album, so that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him on the Millennium Tour, too.
Oh, stop. Come on.
I'm just kidding. But, Tom, the Millennium Tour does start next week. That's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you were trying to encourage me to go to the New York one, but I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we'll keep on trying. We got a couple more records that I want to talk about here. Neo has a new song called Genesis, but apparently it's not by Neo. It's by his alter ego, Tom.
Yeah, it's I didn't really realize this, but it's a conceptual type of track. He contributed to the Step Up High Water soundtrack, So he's performing it as he was his character in the movie. He's a performer in the movie, I guess. So in the series, Sage, I think is the name of his character. So it's a cool song though for those who have heard it. Someone mentioned it bit off a bit of My Prerogative. I don't know about that, but it's not. Someone else said at least it's not EDM. So I mean, there's that. But yeah, it's a cool song.
I don't think Neil has made an EDM song since that song with Pitbull, "Time of Our Lives." Remember that song?
You're right, but I don't even know if people have heard his past couple of albums. I mean, they didn't really perform like his previous work.
You're right. But yeah, Sage Odom is his, I guess, alter ego. The song, I was trying to figure it out with Ed earlier in the week. We're like, what song does this sample? Because I do hear a little bit of My Prerogative. I think I might even hear a little bit of Poison, but that's just me, maybe the melody of it. But it's a cool record, and, you know, Neil has dipped away from promoting his album, and now he's on that TV show. So, I mean, I'm always looking forward to new Neil music, and this Michael Jackson, New Jack Swing type of vibe, it always works for me when it comes to Neil.
Yep.
So shout outs to Neil, who is now also a vegan for the past year and a half, and he's looking ripped. And Tom, we got to get on that vegan diet soon.
Let's get Neil on this podcast, man. He'd be a good guest.
Yep, he would. We need to get him on here. But Tom, can we talk about this new Cardi B and Bruno Mars song? Because I went on Wikipedia to look at the production credits for it, and it's labeled as an R&B song. Is this song R&B?
I mean, I think we talked about if you took Cardi B off the song, it sounds like an amazing song that's straight out of the 90s. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. I think it might be a reject from Bruno's last album, because it's the same producers, kind of fits that whole vibe that he was going for his last album. But yeah, that song was cool. I liked it.
I just don't want to listen to Cardi B, man. Can we move on?
All right, we'll move on from that. I've got some exciting news, Tom. So a couple of weeks ago, we had talked about how KC from Jodeci was releasing a solo album. Well, not to be outdone, JoJo of Jodeci, Jojo Haley, Casey and JoJo, for those that can't connect the dots, he's coming out with a solo album. And Tom, we've talked about it numerous times. You were covering a Casey and JoJo concert a couple of years ago, and JoJo was not sounding too good.
It's not that he wasn't sounding good, it's that he was just acting as a background singer, which was kind of weird. You know, he never took the lead, he kind of stood on the side, so that's why it's kind of interesting to see that he's coming with a solo project. I mean, I'm interested to see what it sounds like. But it's pretty exciting news, though. I mean, we haven't heard a solo album from both of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, Casey we know as the voice of the 90s, or at least one of them, one of the premier vocalists. JoJo I've always felt was underrated, so it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table. If you go on his Instagram right now, he posted a sample of his upcoming single, and it sounds fine. So he might be honest.
I'll tell you my reaction to this is shout to the Casey and JoJo fan page. They were kind of giving me some of the news behind the scenes of what's going on, but man, I really just want to see a Jodeci tour. We have all these 90s artists who are touring, sharing their gift with the world and their hits. You know, we know Devante probably won't tour, but you could do it with just the three other members, and they could be touring the world, and people would love to hear their music. I feel like we're just missing out on that. You know, there's such a void, because they're one of the legends of the 90s.
Yeah, and their music is so influential today, but I mean, from what I've heard, their live show isn't that great these days. But
yeah,
hey, it's still an opportunity for them, I guess.
Let's shout out PJ Morton real quick, man. This guy is on a roll. He announced his acoustic tour coming up. This is right after he announced he'll be creating an album live at the Essence Festival, which is, we've never heard of anything like that. In front of an audience, recording an album, that's pretty cool. And then after that, he announced his tour, an acoustic tour, just him and the piano. And then following that, he put out his artist, the Amours, new single, All the Time. And those are two great singers. We had them at the Soul Village show a few years ago. Shout out to our boy Zeppelin. They're out of D.C. He put us on to them. So a lot of exciting things going on with PJ Morton. I mean, this is right after he won the Grammy and right after he performed at the Super Bowl with Maroon 5. So, I mean, this is you know, he's always been one of the best artists, I feel like, in R&B, but on the low. But, man, it's like his time to shine is right now.
I mean, that's what happens when you're consistent. You do good live and with your albums, and I felt like that live Gumbo album really put him on another level.
Absolutely. No one's really doing stuff like that, man, and it's exciting to see him being creative.
For sure. So, Tom, a couple more records I want to touch on. Give me your comments or whatever. But we have Allure. They dropped a new single, Like I Do.
Yeah, we were very late on this one. It came out in I think November or October of last year. But our friend DJ Soulchild put us on. He's on the pulse of things, and it's a dope, like 90s sounding record. It's pretty good, so check that one out. It didn't really get distributed. We were like the only site to have picked it up. So, but it definitely deserves a listen.
For sure. Salam and Remy and Gallant, Roll the Dice. Do it for the culture, Tom. Salam Remy continues to do that.
Gallant is low-key, well, maybe not low-key, but we never really talk about him, but he's one of the best vocalists of that younger generation. And Salam Remy is one of our favorite producers, so to see those two come together was a really cool moment.
Yep. And then we have Devin Culture, Fears, produced by Troy Taylor. Troy talked about him on the podcast when he was here. This guy has an amazing falsetto, and I know a lot of fans were asking you to post this song. I think D. Brooks is his name?
Yeah, shout out to D. Brooks. Troy Taylor, as I mentioned in the article, has a history of picking out artists like this from, as we know, Carl Thomas. He talked about that. Trey Songz, Kevin Ross. This guy could be the next in line, so he has a good voice. Kind of fits that male R&B singer whole character, so it'll be interesting to see. It's a good song. Check it out.
And then Babyface has a new song with Tiffany Young. I believe this artist is signed to the production group The Stereotypes, as well as the Far East Movement.
Yeah, I don't really know much about her. I guess she's actually huge online, but yeah, that's whenever Babyface comes out with something, we have to check it out. So we featured that on the site. I think she's a Korean-based artist, or don't quote me on that though. I don't really know much about her, but it's a cool song. You know, it's always good to see Babyface staying involved with things.
All right, guys, I guess it's time to bring in our special guest. And like I said, every week we try to bring in a special guest, someone who has brought soul back. And Tom, I'm really excited about this guest. Who do we have?
Oh, man, we have one of our favorite producers, one of the top producers out of the 90s, and then today is doing, some of the biggest things in R&B right now that have us so excited. Really excited to welcome Tim Kelley to the podcast, man. What's up, Tim?
Yes, sir. What's up, man? How y'all doing, man? How y'all extended family doing too, man?
We're all doing good, man. We're good, man. Thanks for, and like I said, we're excited to have you here. I gotta be honest with you, man. Part of the reason we wanted to have you here was just so we could get access to those 112 unreleased songs and those TGT unreleased songs you have over there, man.
Man, you know what's so crazy, man? I got so many, man, albums. Look, easily I got like 3 albums on 112 and like maybe 3 or 4 albums on TGT, man, because 112 obviously, we put them together along with Courtney, with Courtney Bear, and then they ended up getting signed to Bad Boy, which that's a whole nother extension we could talk about when we do that.
Yeah.
But then and then TGT, Tyrese is one of my best friends, so I was always at his house, man. He always have a setup, be like, "Hey Kim, I'm thinking about this, man," and then we go to the piano or the guitar, and then there go a joint right there. So, that's how that ended up happening, man.
Awesome, man. But in all seriousness, though, we'll talk about that offline. But man, what you're doing right now with the label SRG is pretty much. I mean, we're blown away because R&B right now, especially '90s artists, is like a lot of '90s artists kind of they're not releasing music. Some of them have lost their way. They don't know which direction to go. But what you're doing at the label, putting out some of our favorites, you're producing their whole projects. I mean, it's just amazing. Everyone from Brian McKnight, his last album, his new single, and so much else you got going on. Talk about what the situation is like you got going on over there.
Okay. Well, first of all, man, thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. And I got to give it to, first of all, man, God, God above, man, because without him, I mean, it wouldn't even be going on, man. Because sometimes I even like, wow, thanks God for that. Because it's really like you said, the wind, man, is blowing weird these days, man. But basically, what it is SRG is going through Universal. And then it's kind of I got a label within a label, so to speak. It's like off the Black division. I basically, I'm the A&R, so I kind of bring the artist in that I want. And what I did was I decided, I was like, you know what, man, I know there's labels that sign artists that could or potentially sell records that came from my era when I started. You know what I mean? But yeah, I have an existing database in there. What they've done already too is a worth too. So I took it a step further. I was like, you know what, man, I know how to trap. That's easy if you're, especially if you're a guy like me, where you always paying attention to everything that's going on around you. So the trap wasn't the hardest thing. It was, how can I make music without really trapping? It's a perfect blend, put it that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, I need to do it on artists that trust me, because it's going to sound, this different sound that I got right now. It's not going to be like, yesteryear, but it's going to be like right now and in the future. So I got to have somebody that trusts me to know that I already did a hit on them already, first of all, or artists that like, man, I always wanted to work with you, man. And I'm like, I got this sound and I got to wait for us to make some money. You know what I mean? So
right. That's
what I basically did. I started off with the artists I already, had history with, obviously Bobby V. Shawn's feeling a little something. Obviously, I got major history with Boyz II Men. We was raised in the industry together with Boyz II Men. So that's number one. And then let's see who else, man. So many of them. Raheem was a guy that I wanted to work with, so he's on there. And I was telling you, I'm mixing his record now. And then Brian. I got major history with Brian. I've known Brian since 1993. So the artists that I just named, the artists that really trusted me in the studio, like, even though they're like, I don't know, man, like, trust me, man, I got it. And then is a CEO, his name is Claude Vallone, man. What's up, Claude, if you listen to him? But he really trusts me too. So when you got a lot of people that trust you, you know what I'm saying? You're not scared to go over there and try it, you know what I'm saying, with them, because you already know. I'm like, I know exactly how they sing. I know their sweet spots. And when I write this and come up with the hook, you know what I mean, I'm in the right key and just everything, all the elements is, I'm thinking about all that at the same time when I'm doing the production. So I was like, you know what? One turns into three, and I promise I'll be wanting to get some other producers on. But I'm one of the ones I always been preparation meets opportunity kind of guy. Like when I do one, and it feels good, and we get to the third one, before you know it, I got 12 or 20, and they be like, and everybody jumping up and down, doing crazy. I'm like, and then my CEO was like, I don't like that too much. I'm like, okay. So that's what happened. Wow. No lie, that's what happened on all of them so far, man. And then I would bring like maybe one person, I'll be like, just to give let Claude know that I got some other cats that can produce too. But the bulk of it just be me, man. No lie, so far, and it's been working.
Amazing, man. So. We've been noticing.
So it's just a blessing, man.
Nice. Tom, I got to put you on the spot here, because Tim, obviously you've signed so many great acts to that label now, all male artists. So, Tom, I'm going to put you on the spot, and maybe we can make some suggestions to Tim. What female artists do you want Tim to sign to the label? Because I'm thinking,
that's crazy. Y'all just mentioned that. I can't wait to talk to y'all about that, but go ahead.
Hold on. Well, there's so many choices, though. But hold on. You want me to just pick one up off the top of my head, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm thinking one. I don't know if we're thinking the same one, but Tom, you go.
Oh, wait. All right, Kyle, you do yours first. No, hold on.
Careful, man. I saw your post, man. I saw your post.
Damn.
The girls were there, man. And
all right, hold on.
To sit in on it. There's a few of them that I even discovered, man. But
all right, hold on. Kyle, you go first. I'm going to go right after you.
Well, you know what? With Tim's production, I mean, he can play the heck out of that piano, and I think he just brings those perfect elements together. I would like to hear a Brandy vocals on a Tim track, or Monica, someone like that. But Tom, what about you? What do you have?
Hold on. I got two. I'm going to go with two also. So I'm gonna go with first is gonna be Maya because I love the movement Maya has built up with her independent situation.
I agree.
I don't know if Tim, if you've realized, Tim, but man, she's built up like independently. Like she's a great movement, doing it all herself, and we admire that. But number 2 is definitely gonna be Tamia. I mean, we love Tamia.
Man,
her last album was dope, man, and she just exactly. She doesn't necessarily need the help, but man, Tamia is one of those artists like in the right hands could create such a timeless album. So and we know you could do that for her. So those are my 2 right off the top of my head.
Wow. You know what? Every one of them that you named, I worked with them or discovered. It's crazy.
Wow.
Everyone that you just named. I gave Tamia, obviously, So Into You. On Monica, first album, did almost, over half of it. And then I worked with Maya, man. We did a lot of songs together, man. But right when I was done with one of her albums, when she was signed to a major label, man, I think the label disbanded. And then we talked about working together, but it just never happened. So all of y'all name, man, are like my sisters, man.
That's dope, man. I got one more. Can I bring up one more?
And then Brandy, one more. Brandy's my girl, man. You know what? You know what's crazy? She actually did the demo for So Into You.
Oh, wow.
What?
For Tamia, yeah. So she did the demo, and then Mario Winans did the backgrounds for us to let Tamia actually hear.
Where is that MP3? Where is that MP3? Can we get access to that?
I got it, man.
Uh-oh.
Tom, we'll talk, man. We'll talk. Hey, look. One more little tidbit was crazy. So I didn't have a pre-chorus for So Into You when they go, I think you're true, right? How about, man, I was listening to some joints that we had did on Destiny's Child when we first got them signed, right? That I Think You're Truly Something Special, that was a pre-hook that I took from one of the songs we did on Destiny's Child, man, and that was for So Into You. Remember history, man, it's crazy. You know what? I'm going to play that for you. I'm going to get that to you, Tom, too, man.
Please. I would love to hear it.
You're going to trip out, man. It was a first year Beyonce.
Wow, man. That's amazing. That's history right there, man.
Yeah, it is, man. Just blessed, man.
Tim, let's not forget about those 112 records. We haven't forgotten it.
Got you. Don't worry, I got it.
Oh, man.
They're mixing and everything, funny. Man. You know what? Wow, you just got to keep them to yourself, though, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get 8 up on that one. It's all good, though, man.
You know that we actually have unreleased Aaliyah songs that we never share with anyone, that producers share with us. And so we don't. When we hear something, we're given something as a gift. We don't let anyone get that. So that's how it is.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hey, Tom, we don't want the Aaliyah fans coming at us.
Oh, man, yeah. All right, let's get back on topic.
Man.
Well, Tim, I had a question because you're signing all of these great R&B acts, and man, I'm loving it. I was so happy when you signed Bobby V because I felt like he deserved a second shot at this. But is there any pressure on your end when you're signing and producing these artists because of the state of R&B? It's not necessarily making enough money or making the money that it once was. So when these albums are put out, is there a profit in that? Are you looking at it from a dollar standpoint as the guy that's signing these artists?
You know what, man? Not at all, man. First of all, let's go back to the first part. There's no pressure because I'm gonna tell you why. It don't feel any pressure in me. First of all, man, that the word pressure is not even in my embodiment, man. I've lived within pressure my whole life, man. From me being when I was from high school, being the point guard of the team, to being a leader. You know what I'm saying? It's like you want to feel pressure so it can heighten everything up in your body. You know what I'm saying? So that, first of all, that's why I don't feel pressure anyway. Second thing is Bobby, man. It's like my brother. He literally is, man. Because when we did the first album, he came and lived with me. So we lived together. And then I was in Atlanta before, just like a little bit before that, and I did Mister's whole album before they got dropped from Elektra. So when I worked with Bobby, I was telling him, hey, man, why don't you try false, man? You always sing, from your chest, man. Nah, I don't do false, man. Brandon does this, and then the other guy does this. I'm like, you need to try it, man. And, and when I saw him again for that first album, he said, hey, Tim, man, I took some of your advice, man. I'm like, yeah, and he started singing in his false, man. I'm like, wow. I said, you know what? I tell you what. Go back home to the crib and grab some clothes and all that. Come and live with me, man, for a minute. Let's just mess around. And then that's how that first album came along, man. I wasn't even trying. I wasn't even trying to give him a deal, nothing. I just wanted to just go in the studio and just do some music in between the artists I was working on. And I just stumbled across, man, Slow Down and Tell Me. I had a whole other reference for him. It was funny. And then I just gave it to my boy. It was back in the day when you could just be like, oh, I got some dudes I'm real close with that work at the radio station. You can just hand it to them and they can play it. Where now it's all the way different. It's all the way straight up programmed. So Bobby was right on the tail end of that era right there where you can just hand your boy the joint and he play it. So I hand this guy PJ Butter, man, out here in L.A. I gave it to him, and I gave him Slow Down. And that's how Bobby broke right there. I was just messing around. Okay. And it was number one on the radio station. Nobody knew what he looked like. Nothing. They didn't even know. We just came up with the Bobby Valentino. We just said something, you know what I mean? It's crazy how it happened, man. So the answer, I'm trying to wrap it all, make it all make sense, man. I do that with everything, man. I'm just, I leave a lot of room for God to come in. You know what I mean? I do what I do, but I just leave a lot of room for him to come in and let things happen. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what's been happening right now. It's like, all right, God, you know what I mean? You led me this way. You know what I mean? The sign, Shawn, before, trying the whole Boyz II Men group, I just asked Shawn. I mean, Shawn was already recording anyway at his studio because he had a little studio set up almost like towards downtown L.A. He had a studio. I used to always go over there and holler at him because he wasn't that far away from me. So something compelled me to call him one day and say, hey, man, hey, Shawn, you want to do an album? Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told her what I got. Like, look, here's my situation. Da-da-da, Skippy did it. We can just, go and trap ourselves in a room and make an album. He said, let's do it. I did the deal with him right on the phone, and then, bam, he was signed. A little film or something came out. Brian's was a little different because Brian was already signed up there. So Brian is the one that actually brought me up there. And then, I always was working with Brian anyway. So me and Brian got a great chemistry, So every time I work with him, it's magical. You know what I mean? But the rest of them, that's how it happened, man. I called him up. Hey, man, you know what? You want to do an album? You want to do some music together, man? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, I got this situation. I'm going to turn it to this. For real? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Bam, boom, bam. Here's all these, this body just came out, and it's working. It's really working, man. I got to thank the artist first of all, for still believing in me and what I'm capable of doing. That's really all it is, man. Because all of us producers, man, from those days, man, I think we were all gifted at some point and somewhere. Playing an instrument or writing or had some other producers or something. I just was always self-contained, me and Bob were. So right now, you know what I'm saying, you just got to be really, really smart. You just be like, okay, what's happening right now? What's the kids listening to? And then my age, in my age bracket, what are they listening to? And then blend it together. You know what I mean? And some people have a little issue and got to fight with it. I really take it on, and I want to challenge myself, So that's why you hear a little trap in there, you hear a little this in there, you hear a little, R&B of the 90s in there, even the 80s, and then, some future, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to find a name, man, so if y'all can help me out with it, I'm trying to find a name what my music sound is right now. Because it's a little bit of everything, man,
Nice.
And it's working, man, and I absolutely thank God, man.
For sure. Hey, Tom, The one thing I love about Tim's Instagram, he always tells us the greatest stories about some of those records that him and Bob produced together. So what I want to do here, Tim, I'm going to name a record, or Tom's going to name a record first. I'll go after him. You give me your story or anything you remember about the record or just how that record makes you feel today. So, Tom, what do you have for Tim?
All right, Tim. So one of our friends, big supporter of I Got Soul is John B., right? And you and Bob produced a song, They Don't Know, for John B. Now, let me just tell you that when I go to a John B. show, the audience is singing this song word for word. He doesn't even have to sing. It's like they're singing the whole song. So, that's, for me as an R&B fan, is an amazing moment. That's something you created that was timeless. That's such an epic record, man. What do you remember about creating that song with John B.?
What I remember about that song, man, is I Love Someone to Love when that Babyface did, and I was wondering when we actually hooked everything up, did he want something like that, or can I change? And when he came in the studio, in which we were still working at Dallas' studio, when he came in, what up, man? You good? What's up, pimpin'?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This white guy talking like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, man. So I'm like, wait a minute, man. He got some black friends, or he, something. I don't know, man. I don't want to call it. But then I started playing tracks, and I was playing some ones that were R&B kind of crossover ones. And then once I said, man, here's what we're working on right here. And when I played They Don't Know, he's like, that's what I'm talking about, man. He said, man, you know what, man? Y'all print that right now, man. He said, I just got off the plane, man. I got, man, feeling all weird, but, print that real quick. So it's all right. So I just did a 2-track, just a stereo bounce, and, and then we just started going back and forth on the words. He just started. He jumped in the booth, and he's like. So when he was saying that, I wrote a few words down, and then he would say a few words. So I'd be like, "Wow, heard about my past. We used to do." So what I remember about that is us just doing that, and then we just finished it so fast, man. Probably 15, 20 minutes. It was done, and then he came in and just re-sung it again the next day, so we could make sure we wasn't crazy. That was it. And we did all the rest of them on that album the same way.
Nice.
He just went in there and scattered some words. He would have sometimes he'd say a whole sentence. Sometimes it'd just be this little melody. And then I would say, hey, man, what about this? Yeah, that's it. And then that's how I learned how to, seriously, that song, They Don't Know, showed me, man, you know what? You don't need a pen and pencil, man. Leave it alone. Just throw somebody in the booth or you go in the booth. You know what I mean? You don't need to write it down. It can come organically way better sometimes. And I'm not knocking the people that got to write down, but I'm saying sometimes, man, when you just don't write it down, you're not really thinking and looking at, I got to say why? It's got, when you're looking at it, you're thinking of a poem as opposed to you just coming from the heart. So I think that's what I, remember about that song, man.
Wow.
Just let it flow. You know what I'm saying? Never know, man, when it come out right.
That's dope.
Nice.
Kyle, what do you got?
Well, I got to bring up this record because, Tim, you guys with Case, you guys have done so many great songs, and they're all super sad, but I don't know if it gets sadder than missing you. But you know what? I was on YouTube a while ago, and I found that a version with Joe. I know he wrote the song, but just tell me the story of how that all came together. Was it a Joe song at first?
Okay, it was a Joe song, but no, he didn't. Everybody got them mixed up. No, Joe did not write that. Me, Bob, and Joe wrote that.
Okay.
But a lot of people got that mixed up, man. He did not write that, man. You know what I mean? We all collaborate together, man. And I hate when people say that, man, and then they know good and well that they, and I'm saying it might not have been Joe. It might have just got the rumor going that he, you know what I mean? But I hate when people be taking people credit or don't give the credit. You know what I'm saying? So I like to set the record straight when I'm talking, man. I'm like, it's either that, it happened, or it didn't. And, we all wrote it, first of all. You know what I mean? Me, Bob, and Joe. And, yes, it was for Joe. And, again, we were just trying to think of a R&B joint that's like, you know how Stevie would write, but not so deep as Intervisions. We was trying to be in between. We was trying to be really poetic without being Intervisions. Like, what did he say? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that? You know what I'm saying? So we was trying to be, you know, as poetically make sense. You know what I'm saying? Poetically mainstream. You know what I'm saying? So we did the joint. His manager said, man, I don't know. We'll wait on this one because we did like 4 or 5 other ones that they liked. We ended up doing Thong Song, and then we ended up getting a deal with Def Jam, and JoJo Brims, Bangs is his nickname. He came and said, let me hear some songs because he was already in town. He was like, what's that? Because that was the first one that was on. Remember, you guys remember Daps? Remember Daps back in the day, man?
Yeah.
So I had a whole bag of Daps, man. So I didn't know what was going to be. Someone wouldn't even like had a name on it. I just slipped it in there. That was the first track came on. He loved it, and Case came in. He flew in, and he loved it. And then we just recorded it, man. We made him sing his butt off to the point where at the end he said, "I can't sing no more." You remember that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that part, man? That's really real.
Absolutely.
His voice was gone, man, because I had him do the take. I had him do it like maybe 10, and he had just got off the plane. He was trying to make us laugh, man, but I kept it on there when I mixed it.
Oh,
like,
man.
People gonna remember that, man. So yeah, that's what I remember about that one. And man, I don't know. That's another one where you just, hey man, you just gotta let God come in, man. And if you want to get them type of records that last forever like that.
Man, that changed the course of history, man. Joe passed one up, and it became a hit for Case. So that's interesting how it works out. But Tim, let me talk to you about what you got going on currently. So we're waiting on 2 projects really right now. You got the Brian McKnight album coming out, and we love the Shawn Stockman EP, man. We're waiting on the album, man. So what can you tell us about both of those projects?
Okay. Well, let me go back with Brian, because obviously Brian's first single, When I'm Gone, just came out.
Oh, man. We love that single, man. We love it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. You know what I was
we
trying
love
to
that
get
one.
that double snap like they don't know, man. I don't know if you noticed that or not, man.
Really? Oh, wow.
So I'm trying to give it that 90s snap with some fresh production. You know what I mean? So and this one just kind of lit up. I'm like, whoa, people still okay. Because I don't know, man. The 90s just popped in. Whether the 90s producers realize it or not, they better hop in right now. Because a lot of people, if you hear music, man, Chris Brown, all of them, it's 90s music that they're doing, man. You know what I mean? So anyway, to get to it, Brian's, now that we got one that's really, really on fire, it just took off, man. Real Time, I think it's like number 17 right now, right? You know what I mean? So it's doing really, really well. So we had a conversation this weekend, and we're going to start this week, you know what I mean, on that. Just going to pound it out. Shawn's, it's weird. Same thing with him. When Feeling of Something came out, it just took off. But the thing with him, I thought I had the album done. So you know how I go, man. And I'm sure all of us can attest to this. When you hear a song from somebody, you go and run and go grab the album, and nothing else on the album sounds like that. You like, dang, I got the album, or I'm looking on iTunes or Amazon, whatever it is, because of this song. They don't have anything else that sound like this. So that's what I'm going to rewind it and see if I can come up with 4 or 5 more with Shawn if he got time. He's really, really busy. They've been touring a lot, but I want to go back on Shawn too. So that's what's going on with them two right now. Is I'm really trying to, wrap them up. Brian, like I said, we only got 2. I think he got some like 4 or 5 finished. So Brian is going to be easy. Shawn is easy too, like I said, because it's really dope. But when Feeling of Something did what it did, I don't think I did anything that's kind of like did and didn't, man. You know what I mean? I don't know. We be in our heads like that, man. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think I got one that feel like that. And I know people are going to want to at least have that feeling, at least because I actually went to a bridge. The bridge in songs is obsolete these days. I'm like,
don't get us started, man. Don't get us started, dude. man.
I said, I'm putting a bridge in the song, man. And you notice, you know what I did, though? I said, I'm going to trick the people. I'm gonna make it feel like, I'm going to change the music, and it's going to feel like a bridge, but it's really the hook. You get what I'm saying?
Whoa,
so when it goes, I'm saying something right here, I'll change the music, but it's not the bridge, it's a hook. That's the hook. Mm-hmm. So I brought it in that way. So I'm like, I'm going to start doing that. Because the trick, you know what? It's the Jedi mind trick. It's a bridge, but it's a hook. I'm like, I'm doing that more, man. That works. You know what I'm saying?
Tim, hold on. We got to ask you about something. So we studied the Urban AC charts, man, religiously. And Kyle, I want you to have you chime in on this before Tim goes. But, man, because Tim, you're pushing all these artists to Urban AC. They're doing really well, man. They're moving over quickly.
Absolutely.
Like Brian McKnight's latest single. So, Kyle, what do you see right now in Urban AC?
Well, Tom, I think you nailed it in the head. So a lot of the artists that Tim is signing, they're doing well in Urban AC, but then here comes this huge batch of younger artists who are signed to majors, such as like her, Queen Naija, LMA. They're being pushed to Urban AC as well. So it just creates this really weird type of environment right now.
Yeah. So Tim, how do you compete with that? How do you view it, like with all that going on?
I love it. I love it, man, because you know what?
Really?
I'm going to tell you why I love it, man, is because it's going to even the playing field now. Because LMA is what? How old is she?
24.
She could be, exactly. So
you
got a 24-year-old doing, the first one sounded like to me like Keith Sweat sounding 80s, between 85 and then the end of 80s to 90s. Both of her songs, matter of fact, it just got a twist of what's going on right now. But, man, you got real chords going on and everything. She's only 24. And you know what? She's killing them. So she ain't doing nothing, man, but saying, hey, you know what? I can win Grammys off doing this real music. It ain't got to, all of it ain't got to sound trap. You know what I mean? All the way trap. It can still sound like this. It's just a way you got to do it. It's just the way you got to write it, the way you got to sing it. You know what I mean? So it can still be catchy. You know, melodies.
Well, Tim, let me stop you real quick, man. Tim, let me stop you real quick, because you know how younger people kind of dominate what's popular,
right?
So how do you compete with if a younger person is coming onto your chart, Urban AC, which we've previously known to be like, 30s, 40s year olds and over? How do you compete with that?
See, you know, let me tell you why I love it. I'll give you an example here. Let's change over to sports for a second. Homeboy, man, what's his name, man, that didn't play, that was unbelievable running back for the Steelers. What's his name?
Oh.
That didn't play this year.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So he was considered the best back, but Todd Gurley got all that money, right? And that's why he didn't come back, because he's like, nah, I did way. Go look at my numbers. I did way better than Todd Gurley, man. I'm worth at least, close to as much as Todd Gurley were. I proved it. You know what I mean? And I'm not that much older than him. So if you're not gonna give me that bread, then I'm sitting. I base that. It's almost the same way.
Oh.
It's like when these young kids are doing it, it's like cool. You know what I'm saying? Because what it does is it's like it's going to up the ante for artists that we're talking about, Tamias of the world, the Bryans of the world, the Bobbies of the world, man. It's like, you know what? They mean something. If these young people are doing it, then something must be up. So it forces a movement, man, to make everybody be like, wow, man, it is cool to do melodies, man, that ain't got to be like, I don't understand what they're saying and all that. It's cool to say I love you in the record. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to say, heartfelt lyrics, man, and write lyrics, man. It's cool to not let the snare, everything is 808s and that. You know what I'm saying? It changes, it pushes the movement when younger people come in. It's the same scenario, man, that it is in football or basketball or whatever. If you playing like me, and you coming in and want to play like me, you helping me out. Like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's going to keep my lifespan going in music. It's going to keep, Rodney Jerkins, Dallas Austin, Jermaine Dupri, all of us. We can go back and go do what we were doing from the beginning and just twist it with a twist. So I love it. I really do, man. I really love it, man. So if any of the young artists, man, out there, if y'all hear me talk, man, come on in, man. That Urban AC chart is on fire right now.
Wow.
And you know what? And if you're in love or you want to be in love or you want to talk about, you're in love, this is the chart and this is the way to do it, man. Just go Urban AC. And then it'll cross over to R&B Hot 100. That's what LMA did. You know what I mean? Because when you think of a slow song, man, where's it going to go? Urban AC first, right?
Yeah.
But look what LMA did. It went Urban AC, crossed over to Hot 100, and R&B, you know what I mean? R&B hip-hop. A slow joint. In this weather right now, that helps me out. That's what I mean by that. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, please come, because I want some Hot 100 action too. Come on, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
I mean, shout out to all these young artists making R&B. LMA. I mean, even Bruno Mars' last project.
Bruno Mars, he killed him last time, man. If anybody that knows Bruno Mars, man, thank you very much, man, for that album.
Yeah. But guys, all I ask, and I tweeted about this the other day, all I ask is these songs that come out, can they please be longer than 2 minutes and 16 seconds?
My goodness.
I know everyone knows who I'm talking about, but please, I need to know why they do.
Tom, you know why they do that, right? They think in their mind, they're thinking like Hot 100, like rap songs, man. Rap songs, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Because, if you're going, you could do a thing there, 50 words in a verse when you're rapping, but when you sing it, you can't do that. So, you got to stop thinking about trap and what they're doing on the hip-hop side. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're rapping. So if you're rapping fast, and you could spit out 9 million words, you know what I mean? So you don't have to do that. I still do joints, man, that's between 350 and 420. They still get on the radio. Brian's joint is 405, man, when I'm gone. It ends at, it's 4 minutes and 5 seconds, man. And just a week and a half, it's number 17 on the chart. So that proves to you don't have to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Right.
It's got to be a good song, man. They'll fade in on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't got to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They'll fade in on their own if they think it's too long. If they think it's a good record.
Right.
So, young kids out there, young producers, man, don't be, man, it's too long. Man, do the song, make a radio edit, and just in case, you know what I mean? But most likely, man, if they like it, they're going to play it.
Yeah. You're right about that,
man. You know what I'm saying? If it's a good song, it's going to get played.
Let us ask you this last question, man. We ask this to every guest we have on our podcast.
Absolutely.
This is a crazy question for you, but if you had to choose between these two artists, who would you rather listen to, Keith Sweat or Musiq Soulchild?
Wow. Man, y'all really got me in it because both of them are my boys, man.
But have you worked with Keith Sweat?
Ouch.
Have you done work with Keith Sweat?
You know what, man? I didn't. We were close a gang of times, but it just never happened. Now, Musiq Soulchild I did, though. I worked a lot with him, but I never worked on Keith. I love Keith, man, but Musiq Soulchild's a bad boy, man. I might kill Musiq Soulchild. Sorry, Keith, I love you, man. Don't be mad at me, man. Don't be mad at me, man. You're still my boy. Musiq Soulchild is a bad dude, though, man.
Yeah.
He really is, man. And them albums, you know what? Just as well as Keith Sweat, but I don't know, man. Like Musiq Soulchild, he got a gang of styles, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he do, man. And he's
those are two of our favorites.
Hold on, say it again now.
Those are two of our favorites on this podcast, Musiq and Keith. So we just ask everyone who they prefer of the two. So it's just like a rivalry type of thing, you know what I mean? It's not like...
Oh, man.
We know they're both great.
Man, that one hurt. I ain't going to even lie, man. I'm going to get off the phone. I'm going to be hurt for about an hour off that question. Go hard to get no sleep tonight off that, man.
Yeah.
Because they're both my boys, man. But
absolutely, man.
Musiq Soulchild. I guess let me add this in there so Keith won't, if he's hearing this or he's gonna hear it. I worked with Musiq Soulchild, so I didn't work with Keith. So that's why I said Musiq Soulchild. That's why I said it, Keith. For real.
Keith, if you're listening, man, you got to step it up, Keith, man. You know, Tim is waiting for you, man.
Nah, man, come on, man. You're making it worse for me, man.
We're just messing around, man.
Yeah, I know, man. It's all in fun, man. I appreciate y'all guys, man. I really do, man. And you know what, man? Keep doing what y'all doing, man, because you know what? It's y'all bringing attention. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about, man. It's like, hey, y'all forgetting about me over here, R&B. Hey, I know we're not, you know, I know it's not, you know, trap. I know it's not Cardi B, you know what I mean? But, you know, we over here. And you know what? Cardi B doing R&B. This song, she's just wrapping up an R&B track. Her single right now.
100%.
Yep. We were just talking about that.
She rapping on an R&B track, man. So R&B's coming back, man. It's just gonna take, just like anything. If you want to bring it back, it's gonna take an army. You know what I mean?
Well, so Tim, let me just say this real quick because I appreciate you saying that. We've been at the site, you know, I got sold for almost 10 years now, and R&B is probably in the worst place it's been in those 10 years. And
I agree.
People like yourself, though, are really keeping it alive. You know, some of our favorite artists you're working with, man, we really appreciate that. We need that for more producers than yourself, man. If we had more people like you, man, R&B would be in a much greater place than it is right now. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man. I can't abandon it, man. I was like, I think I hit a post with that. I was like, I was born from it, and I'm dipped in it. So it's like, you know, I can do anything, man. I've had a hit in rock, pop, R&B, but R&B, man, it's who I am, man. It's just, I'm walking R&B. You know what I mean? Like I know it too much to abandon it. You know what I mean? And it gave me this life right here, man. This music career, man. So I can't abandon it, man. You know, I can't do it, and I'll never do it. That's why I'm reaching back and grabbing all these artists, man, because especially the ones that trusted me, that because I know the right way to do it for it to make sense right now in today's music. Put it that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
I really know what, you know. I got my finger on it. I'm like, I know, you know, what they want now. Especially when we send them out and they get research. They're like, oh, this is it. I'm like, okay, I'll do this then. This is what they want to hear right now. You know what I mean? So, you know, so I'm going to keep it alive, man, as much as I can, man. And I think, you know what, eventually, man, like anything else, man, if it was meant to be, and, you know, we get some other producers, man, to really invest more in R&B, it'll get its prominence back, man. It will, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
it's
just a matter of time. But I'm right in the front line, though. I'll say that, man. I ain't stopping.
Absolutely.
Not going to stop.
Absolutely.
I just started my second leg. How I'm going to stop now? So,
oh, man.
You know, man. But I thank you guys a lot, man. And like I said, man, you know, you guys' name says it all, you know. You got soul, you know what I mean? It's like soul, R&B. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I thank you guys, too, man, because if it wasn't you guys talking about my music, you know, people wouldn't know it's out. So people like you guys. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man.
Right, Tim. So we're out of time, man. We want to thank you again so much, man. We got your back. Whatever you're doing, we're supporting. We love what you're doing. And, man, please keep it going. Please keep it going. And please sign more artists, you know. And,
I will.
And in the meantime, send us those unreleased songs you got, and we'll be good.
Hey, you know what? Let me slip this in, man. Hey, Raheem's next single, man. Man, y'all are not ready for what I did.
Oh, man.
My Lord, man. Yo, man, he came in, man. He's falsing all the way through on his first single that I did. Man, I'm telling you, it's like Maxwell meets, I don't know, man. Who got another Babyface? Man, yo, man. He sounded so, man. He never sounded like this on a song. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Not like this, man. Not like this. Right. It's called, what's the name of it? Perfect for Me? Just Right. That's the name of it. Just Right. So, yeah, we're gonna rush this, man. Give it maybe 3 weeks to a month. You'll hear like
Nice.
3 weeks. I'm pushing 3 weeks because I'll be done with the mix today. So, you know what I mean? And so, you know how I go, you know, the faster you can get into somebody's hands and they're going crazy over it, the faster they want to push it out. So, remember I said this, man. Y'all can, man, hopefully, man, I get a call back from you guys. Y'all can be like, man, you're right.
Oh, man.
Wow. Sounding
That's amazing,
really
man.
good, man. Me and him, man, we it's a good connection, too. So, be looking out for it.
That's dope, man. We'll be looking out for that. Absolutely.
All right, fellas, man. Well, yo, man.
Yeah, man.
Again,
thanks so
I
much.
appreciate you hitting me up, man, and just let me know when I got to listen to when the podcast come on, so I can
Absolutely,
have all
man.
my boys listen to it. Cool?
Yep. We'll be in touch, man.
Okay,
all right, man. That's it.
All
Take
right,
care.
thanks a lot.
So that was Tim Kelley on the podcast. Shout outs to Tim for joining us. Tom, what do we have? You know, I don't know if we have anything for the Play It Please unless you do. I'm trying to think right now. But can you at least give us your SoulBack track of the day? I'll put you on the spot right now because we haven't done one of these in a while.
Oh, man. You know what the SoulBack track of the day is? What was the song you picked out last week for Donell Jones?
I Want You to Know?
He said that, I couldn't believe you picked that, and he said it was his favorite song. I thought that was really cool. Like the favorite song he's ever made. So, honestly, I didn't see it. You told me to listen to it again. You know, it's from his first album, and I took a listen, and I'm like, it's a cool song. But you and him both, I guess, really understood how deep of a song it was. You mentioned to me off the record there was some elements of it that really stood out.
Yeah, it was, like I mentioned in that. And guys, if you haven't checked out our episode with Donell Jones, you need to go back and listen to it because he gave like a full story on how the song was created. But just, man, the vibe of that song, it's almost like Michael Jackson-esque. So, shout outs to Donell for that record. Tom, what's going on with YouKnowIGotSoul.com?
Man, we've been pretty active posting on. It's been a good year for R&B, man. I'll be honest. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. I'm excited. We haven't even mentioned it. Some of the other songs we have featured on the site. Lion Babe had a pretty good song. And some others. Tweet's been doing a Tweet Tuesdays. You know, check all the stuff out on the site. There's a lot of good music coming out this year. It's been a stronger year, I feel like, than the previous few years. So, and then in the meantime, we're just going to keep coming with these podcasts and bringing these special guests, and it's going to be it's a good thing going. We're going to keep it going all this year.
Yeah, man, we have a couple of guests lined up. I keep telling you guys about this Montel Jordan interview or feature that we're going to have on the podcast, and it's coming, I promise you. I'm just getting my dates messed up because we have so many things lined up, but we're going to keep bringing them to you, and as long as you guys are down, then we're going to continue doing it. So, no Play It Please this week, unfortunately, without Ed here, because without him, no one gets riled up. I already used all my anger on that Solange album. So, everyone, just do me a favor. Put that Solange album down. Go on Spotify, stream Ashanti's Concrete Rose album, and we're good, Tom.